Good evening, everyone. Welcome to third Prague Impro Room. We are so excited to be here. As you've heard, we start off usually with talk featuring our main guest. And for tonight, it is a wonderful, accomplished saxophonist, producer, and composer, OMRI ABRAMOV. Over the next hour, feel free to ask any questions comes to your mind. It's totally fine. It's open, so don't hesitate. And to start this conversation off, can you tell us a little bit, Omri, about your musical journey and where your path has taken you since then?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's really amazing being here in this beautiful room full of artistic energy. So thank you. My artistic journey, it's a, I feel like the journey is still, I hope, at the beginning also, so it's ongoing. But I kind of started, I remember the moment that I knew that music is something special for me. And it's also my first childhood memory, which is like me being around maybe 5 or 6, like sitting in my dad's car. And there was this beautiful song by an Israeli composer and pianist and also singer called Yoni Rechter, and he is like he writes. There was a period in Israel in the 70s when they wrote like music that is very harmonic, but it's pop, but it's very harmonic and with like complicated shifts, but very strong harmonic shifts like that manipulates like your feeling. And I remember I felt it so strong. I was like, Dad, what is it? What is it? Like, and I really remember also that's my first vivid memory as a child. And I think something special towards music started then. And, then with school, a bit recorder, then a bit of flute, then a long time more football. and then I learned that when I was almost 13, I learned that in my school there's a very cool saxophone teacher. Oh. And since then, then I was imagining something totally different. I was imagining all this pop-ish saxophone lines that I knew from songs until then. And I went to this teacher of mine. His name was Nimrod Graf, and he played for me a Michael Brecker tune, and I was like, "What the hell is that even possible to do on the I didn't know that this thing can be even made." This kind of music, so eclectic, so to me, communicating and diverse and pulsating. I was blown away, and I think that's the moment that I was a jazz musician. For me, it really took me by a storm. And after a while, I with this guy, really put a lot of love to this music in me, to this kind of music to I still reflect on our conversation, even though I was I was really a young kid, and unfortunately he passed away. But this teacher of mine, but I reflect a lot about how deep these conversations got into me, And after a while, he sent me to another teacher. His name was Erez Barnoy. He was a very, very prominent figure in in teaching in Israel. He is still considered to be maybe the best teacher. I think he's the best teacher I've ever had, and for many people. He was teaching at the Conservatory of Music in Tel Aviv, where I studied. Very, very impressive saxophonist and character. And with him, he really made me understand what it means, what it takes to be a musician in this field of jazz, to understand the legacy of jazz, the tradition, to really dig deep into that. and that was kind of what started my path into the professional world. After graduating from that conservatory and like finishing with him, and then like I did. There's like but I actually didn't continue all the way to the other part. I stayed in Tel Aviv because like in the middle of the studies, I started playing with some of the biggest like world music pop productions in Israel. Like I was in the Air Force band in the army also at the time. I couldn't, like you cannot, it's mandatory, so you cannot like go abroad also. So at the time I couldn't even like continue the second half in the States, like of the studies. So it's so I just basically, but in the Air Force band came this guy his name is Magdaléna Rajchlová. He's a very famous Israeli musician. Like it's not jazz exactly. It's like more like folk pop music, huge concerts, huge halls, like 10,000 people and stuff like that. And then he saw him and the brass arranger saw me at the army band, and they took me to the band. And then from there, I started going into a bit to the pop world. It was a very teaching experience to me, like to experience that a lot in the studio, understanding what is like, how do you blend in a brass section, like when you function with others. What I think even now, back then I don't think I was like maybe 20, like was 20. I don't think I even fully understand. Like I don't think I understood fully because I was still like in the mind, like completely in the jazz world of the tradition of jazz, where my school was. So I didn't understand at first, but with time I started to understand the value of that music and being in that role in a band, like being in the brass section or seeing the professionalism all around it, like no coffee cups, whatever on the stage, even in the sound check, like they were very like times, everything precise, sound is ready, like that, jack, what do you need, 2 words, in the sound to correct it. So that was also a very teaching experience. And after a while, I decided I still played jazz during that whole time. And I recorded through this guy, I went on to record in many singers and musicians in the pop scene. But after a while I decided it's time to dive back completely into what I see as artistic, where my artistic involvement is complete, and that's jazz, and then I went went abroad, mostly Berlin, where I live now, sometime in New York, but Berlin.
Interesting. Well,
yes.
So, yes, you live in Berlin, but your musical journey has taken you to the States as well. So you have some, connections and even bands in New York and LA. I wonder, why your path primarily didn't lead there?
Mm-hmm. It's actually a very good question because most of my friends, I'll say like 90% of my friends who were graduating with me and studying with me at that place were like going to New York, actually. Mm-hmm. And I also went at first for a short visit. And it's an amazing place. But at first I felt like I wasn't mature enough. I felt it. I wasn't mature enough as a person to be in such an intense place. Well, that's in my first visit, like during maybe I was 21 or something, like after I got released, so from the army. So, and then, but I knew that it's not for me. And then after a while, I decided that I want to get back into more like doing my like artistic stuff, music, and I had a jazz fusion band. The name was Nioji of that band. We actually played here at Bohemia Jazz Fest in 2016, yeah. Yeah, that band doesn't exist anymore. Like, I mean, I'm still very good friend with Guy Shkolnik. That's the guy that I did the band with, who was also like kind of my harmony teacher and mentor. But and we moved actually together to Berlin, you know. And we released like our album in like Alessa Records. It's an Austrian label, and like had some tours going on. So we were. It was also the right move. It was like a trigger to move out of Israel and start somewhere, you know. But I didn't know if it's gonna be, you know, Berlin. It's gonna stay Berlin or not. And something in Berlin, because there were. And now there's much more musicians, by the way, coming from Israel, even from New York. Like, people are moving to Berlin. A lot of people are moving to Berlin all the time. Yeah. But back at the time it was less, and I think I could, you know, be a bit more focused on what I want to do. I had more quiet in my mind, you know, like. Israel is like so condensed, you know. Like, I have a very amazing and loving, but also, you know, tight family, you know, and like all the, and in the music scene in such a small country, everyone knows each other, and I was very sensitive to all the external voices, and I couldn't. It's not that they were bad, but they were also not exactly like helping me to find who I am, you know. Like, you hear an opinion like that or like that, like I'm the kind of person who immediately like starts, like the mind starts to like the, you know, like what does it mean about me? Oh my God, you know. And it was very hard for me in Berlin. I could start like being like really. It sounds like it's like something that I wanted, like that I planned, but it's more something that you reflect on in a retrospect, that you just like after a few years in a place, you're like, okay, wow, I do feel like calm. I do feel more confident. I'm less like stressed about that or that, you know. So I think it was some kind of an inner feeling. And when that feeling got strong enough, I at some point I decided like, okay, I want to go to New York now, you know, and then I spent some time there, and I.
Was it for an invitation? You were invited, or you?
No. I just decided to go for you know, for a period. It was several months, and just. And I just like, it was amazing. I was just like playing, I was reuniting with so many people that I sat with, and also like met through them so many people that you know are amazing musicians, and went to shows to see like some of my musical heroes, you know, and took lessons with some of you know, like, of them. It's like, and then I also recorded an album with my trio from there. There's two guys that I really love playing with. Ben Tiberio on double bass, and Evan Hyde as a drummer, and we did this trio. We did a trio recording. It was so flowing. Everything was just took a couple of hours, like I don't know, several hours, just like, and the whole thing was ready. We were just like, yeah, it's happening. Let's like, I think we have an album, and we just we called the band Hovercraft, and that's my trio from New York. And since then, I was going back and forth a bit. That was in 2018. 2 years later, we all know what happened. And it was like no more inviting anyone from the States or anywhere or playing everywhere with COVID. But before that, I also went, before COVID started, I also went to LA. And I was, in LA, it was more focused on, I also play iwi. Like if whoever don't understand, don't know what is this weird word that I just said. It's like it's a iwi. It's a electronic wind instrument. It's actually initials EWI, EWI. And when I started playing the iwi, it was in my old jazz band that I told you about, Naji, when we played here at the festival and stuff. And this is where I started picking the iwi. And it's a whole world by itself. It took me to music production, to sound, to understanding different things about like what are the roles that I can take in different band, and like it's a really like a journey, you know. And through my journey into the iwi, I started to collaborate with some really interesting companies that are synthesizer companies or like music software companies and stuff like that. And they invited me to go to the NAMM show. It's like a huge music exhibition. And I was there again last month also, like 2 months ago, yeah. And so we have this ongoing connection. It started since 2019, you know. And then I also, every time I go there, I spend some, it's in LA, it's close to LA, it's in Anaheim. Every time I go there, I spend some time also in LA, and I love the music. I love, first of all, the weather is great. And yeah, no, it depends when, because this happens in January, and that's where you want to be in January. It's really nice, you know, and you just drive around and you see like great landscapes, and like it's there's so much like groove and a bit more modern fusion oriented music going on in LA. Amazing musicians. It's very cool also. So I love my life in Berlin, but I also try to maintain a certain relationship with these two places.
Absolutely. For its openness and inspiration, it's definitely amazing.
There's like so many great, inspiring musicians in these places that, you know, and it's so, there's so many great, inspiring musicians in this place, and so like it's you know, it's the world's biggest some of the world's biggest cities, you know. Also the industry around it, you know. Like I also actually recorded some music for movies. I did even something with the Iwi, you know. I did even one for a Disney theme park, you know, like and the direction was like, try to make a voice of an alien jumping from a swamp into the sky. I'm like, wow, okay, I'll try to do that, you know. But you know, at first I think, okay, look how far it is away from like, okay, now transcribe a Dexter Gordon solo, you know, like that's in my conservatory, and that's that. But I love it that it's like, at first I was like, what do you want me exactly to do, you know? And then I was like, okay, let's try to make that alien, you know? And after like, I don't know, 50 takes, they were like, yes, that was the alien, you know? Like, and there's a lot of that creative energy going on there, you know, like that people invent stuff and they have drive in the music world, outside of the music world, so you feel it. It fuels you with something, and I love to be around that fuel, you know? Mm-hmm. Even if I don't, and you know, if I don't live there permanently, mm-hmm. And to be clear, Berlin has so many amazing musicians and things to offer. That's why I love living there. So I try to, you know, feel it. How long have you been living in Berlin? More than 8 years, actually. Like, yeah, maybe with the pause in the middle, but so a bit less. Maybe let's say between 7 to 8 years.
Okay. Interesting. So you still that's your life. We were talking before you guys came. So and you were actually saying that Europe provides you more concerts and shows, that you tour a lot here, yeah. So that you probably wouldn't be able to do it back in the States. So can you tell something about it?
Sure. I mean, of course, it's just my individual experience. You know that there's a lot of people who tour in the States, in the heartland, in the middle of the States, and like going on US tours. But for me at the time, I almost felt like I had to make a decision. Like after I had some contacts in the movie industry, and then like people are looking for Iwi players and people who can do like these special effects that they want for some special stuff, you know, like. But if you want to do that, you have to really do that. It's like, yeah, you have to live it. You have to go to the right places, meet the right people, like in jazz, you know, meet the right people, show up, show yourself. I don't know, inquire about like where the things happening, you know, and stuff like that. And I felt like, okay, if I'm doing that now, it means that I completely let go of. I already had a quite, you know, nice touring schedule also already going on. In Europe, yeah, that was in LA, you know, so I was already like planning ahead, you know, yeah, with Berlin. And I thought like, wow, okay, if I actually move here, I let go of this amazing thing that is touring Europe, you know, going here to Czech Republic, you know, going all over Germany, going to Poland or France or Italy or the Scandinavian countries, you know, like, and it's so, every place is relatively close by, like an hour flight or an hour and a half flight or a train, and it's like different culture, different people, different language, like different, and I love it. Different food, you know, like it's. I love it personally. I love it. I like to even, you know, it's what I gonna do these days, you know, like now I'm here, tomorrow I'm in Stuttgart, you know, like I love to be like in different places, like I feel like I experienced the day to its fullest kinda, you know, like I'm like, actually it was 2 days ago, wow, it feels like a week ago that I was at that place, but I met so many people, but you have to love this lifestyle, but I really do, and I think this is where I was like, in reflection, I was like, okay, I did make the right call when I was feeling a bit more like, you know, confident with myself and who I want and what I like or who I am to an extent when I started going to the States more, because like I was still like sure that about what I like and what I want to do, and I think that's an important thing in general, because there's so many amazing things, and it's great to be to experience with all of them, or as much as possible. But it's also good to have some kind of compass, you know.
But maybe your touring life will change a little bit because you are guys expecting a baby, right? True, yeah. So it's gonna probably change. Take care of the family life for a moment. But yeah, we said a lot for now. I mean, are there some questions you guys wanted to ask, or? Yeah, take your mic.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about how do you promote your music, and how did you do that specifically when you started out and maybe had your first record? What would you recommend?
That's a very good question. I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm like not one of these, like I'm not like a star with my own music, you know what I mean? Like I get hired by people a lot, and I collaborate on their albums. Some of them were more successful, some less successful, you know, like. But from my experience, when I did have my jazz band at the time, it was a lot of. First of all, trying to have something fresh, you know, like. In the music itself, you know, the way I see it, starting from the name to the whole image of the band. I mean, people want to hear a story, like people want to feel a story. And promoters or festival or playlist curators or promoters, they are people, you know. There's a person like. Yeah, you're right. With AI, you never know. But like, let's assume that there are people. I won't go into AI now. But you know, essentially, there's a person that feels what most people feel, usually, which is a certain story. The stronger like story you manage to tell in your whole, whether it's your cover photo of the album and the music, and the stronger like story, the stronger like package that you have. That you tell like a certain story that can even maybe be like told with 2 words, you know what I mean? It maybe the better, and you have to be very good, you know, like that's the 2 things that are connected to the actual music professional side and how you present it. After that, there's a lot of networking. I think like in our world, it's very important to have a certain social skill, to be a bit of a yes man. I would say not too much. It's very important also to know how to say no. I'm still learning that also, but it's also very important. But to be a yes man will definitely bring you a lot of contacts. I think like people, whether it's festival promoters or fellow musicians or people that want you to record on on their album, or people from a label who want you to record an album for them, or you know. Or from certain community. People like musicians that are very good, but are also people that they understand. Exactly, and they understand they understand like kind of the world. They are not just like coming, doing the job, let's say, or just like recording and asking about the money and going away. You know, like people like to be around people who care and who are interested. And I think coming from that, that's a good way to start, I think, valuable connections that in every each, like, it's very individual, but when you have good connection, it's good connections make the path a bit clearer to how do you want to promote your music, you know, which kind of community or label you want to connect with, which kind of artists you want to collaborate with that will then connect you to a nice promotion agency or something like that, you know, like, it's like it goes like that from what I experience at least. Sure.
Thank you. So another question would be, you mentioned this briefly about the teacher you had in Tel Aviv.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot help, and I think other people notice it too, that in the States there's like a lot of Israeli people that are really incredible musicians.
Yeah.
But it's such a small state.
Yeah.
What do you think is the reason that they're, you know?
It's a great question. It's and the reason is this guy. His name was Erez Barnoy. He also passed away like a few years ago. And it was him and another guy called Amit Golan, who was a pianist, and some other great musicians that came from New York, founded this department in the school, and they were really good teachers. I mean, they really, like, you know, I had to like transcribe a solo every week, you know. And I remember, like, I remember my second lesson with Erez, because when I came from my first teacher, which was amazing and put so much love into music for him, but he wasn't so demanding, you know. And it also, how do you demand, you know? And I came to the first lesson, he gave me homework. I came to the second lesson, really like 50% ready. And he was a big guy, you know, like Erez was I don't know, almost 2 meters, very impressive person, also like with a deep voice, like charismatic, you know. And he looks at me, you know, and then just like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know that I did like, it's not complete, but I had like a lot of homework and stuff like that. I was at school back then, yeah, like, so homework, and like I had to do that, and just, and then he just like looks at me for like 10 seconds, just like that, you know. When you're a kid and this huge person looks at you, you're like, you know, screaming in this place, you know, like he was just looking at me like, you know, like that. And then he was like, I'm expecting more work. And that's it, you know. And then like let another 10 seconds for me just to be there. But what he actually said is, don't waste your time and my time, you know. Like, I believe he said it it's amazing, you know. You have to have like a educational persona for that, you know, like to say you have the potential, but if you are gonna, you know, like fuck around, it's not gonna happen, you know, like. And that was a very, very influential moment, you know. And since then, I did like sometimes double the work for him, you know, like I remember like after like the summer break, you know, almost 2 months, I came back with like maybe 10 or 11 solos that I just transcribed, you know, and he was so happy. And, you know, since then, he started to be also not my teacher, but my mentor also, you know, like as we started to be buddies, he started to call me to sub for him, right? Like in some gigs that he had. I started to know the teachers, I started to play with the teachers that I was with in this school, and they are all amazing musicians in the spirit of jazz. So it's like, and like me, there's tons of stories of these Israeli musicians that you mentioned, and they all went in that way or another through these channels of teachers, you know, in the Israeli schools, you know. So it's just very good, and by now it's a very good scene. I mean, now when I go to Israel, there's a bunch of very young people, and I'm like, damn, these guys are killing it, you know, like, and I didn't know about it, you know, even so. But now it evolved, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's thanks to many of these great teachers. Yeah.
Interesting. We were talking about the scene. That's true. Is there any particular person who changed your who changed your approach to music, or is there, because you said that you were influenced by your mentor, this guy, but then maybe somebody you met or maybe you collaborated, because you've collaborated with a lot of great musicians. So could you maybe tell us who were you recorded with, or?
Oh, yeah. Who I
like a lot of questions right now, but I mean, start with from.
Okay, so to start from people who influenced me, I mean, of course, a lot.
Talking about the mentor.
Yeah, the mentor, yeah, exactly. No, of course, a lot, but I mean, so if I talk about there was Erez, this teacher that I had in Tel Aviv, in the conservatory. It was also very influential on me, maybe my best teacher. Also, as a person, I all the time think about him. How he passed away, so I all the time think about how much I would love to talk to him these days, you know. But and after that, I went on to study harmony and counterpoint and keyboard. And my teacher was the guy that I did then later the band with, Naoji, my jazz fusion band with the Iwi and stuff. But he was also a very influential person because he started to, thanks to him, I really started to understand harmony in a different way. To see, basically, it starts from the whole approach about what voice leading and harmony and counterpoint is, rather than looking at it as certain chords that are frozen moments in time, you know, ta 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 ta, or like that. It's actually music is actually water, you know. It's actually like notes going to each other in different combinations, and they're all it's a fluid thing. So that whole approach was also very, very influential on me, and understanding what is, if I take the inner voice, or if I take stuff if I look at it like that, if I suspend the note and do all this combination, what is my role, even if I play inside the mix or outside the mix, or how loud? It's above just being with the biggest sound and playing the most killing or energetic thing. It's it's a bit more a wider approach in a way to music, and that was very influential as well. Since then, I mean, I meet many people that are just through playing, or through just connections, hangs. It can be a label manager that will just tell you, hey, you can play less, you know, or you can do, or you can go to that direct. Yes, also sometimes, you know, rests are amazing thing, or just someone gives you a tip about how you approach a microphone, you know, and I don't know, even now, I was just in LA 2 months ago. I was hanging a lot with Bob Shepard, amazing saxophone player, legendary, you know, and he gave me some tips that I was damn, that's a good one, you know, about how do I hold the saxophone and the approach to the sound and everything, you know, So I really like to, I kind of but by this time I really like to come to people who I know that I can, you know, that have something to say, and try to, in a nice way, to kind of extract, not extract means that I take from them. No, it's just learn from learn from them. Yeah, whatever I can, can be even in politics, you know. I remember I was I won't get into politics, but I was once I had recently a flight with very smart ex-politician, you know, in the Israeli government. I was I saw him. We were kind of participating in different things. I was with a band. He was making a lecture in an art festival, and I saw that we're pretty close to each other in the plane. And it was a short flight from Trondheim to Oslo in Norway, and I was telling the person next to him, can you switch with me, please? You know, and then I was just coming to this guy. I was telling him, look, we have half an hour. You don't know me. We played at the same festival. I really like, I think you're an amazing person. Can I ask you this and this, you know, like, and I like to do the same about music if I can, you know, like, so there was a moment that I, you know, asked something about Joe Lovano that I remember, like from a festival, you know, like it was still one of my greatest like inspirations, you know, like, and it's, I think there's so much. I think musicians tell you in their playing so much already, but if you can capture a moment or many moments that they will say something to you, it's very valuable. Also, a lot of the people who are masters or like are, you know, mentors, they have it quite intact, you know, so they will tell you in a few sentences something that is very valuable usually, you know, so it's I try to aim for getting that, you know.
Interesting, good. That's perfect. Is there anyone you would like to play or you wish to meet or maybe have a little talk?
Oh yeah.
A lot of people?
Yeah, no, many people. Well, for sure, I mean, there's two huge inspirations that I don't think it will. I mean, of course, Chick Corea was amazing. That unfortunately passed away. Yeah, and Keith Jarrett is also. Pat Metheny, I hope to. Pat Metheny is I learned more advanced harmony through playing Pat Metheny tunes on the piano. That was the first like tip that this mentor that gave me. It was like, because he has a PhD on the Bach fugues and he knows so much classical music. But he was like, you know, you can go all to that route, but let me show you something a bit like that will connect what you know, but and then you know, sit on the piano, you see all this like amazing like harmonic. It's so strong harmonically and rhythmically. It's so like precise. So, and also the way he plays. Pat Metheny and like the ideas, the fluency. I would love to, and I know that he has a lot to say because we have some mutual friends. You know, I play with Noah. Yeah, I play with Noah, the singer who he produced and played in her first album. You know, and I play with her, and I still like wanna kind of make it happen. So I mean, I hope he's one of my biggest heroes, and that's a big wish of mine. Yeah.
That's sweet. Okay. So, yeah, we have only 5 minutes left. So is there anyone who would like to ask something? Maybe last question, maybe two more?
I have a question. It might be a little funny or silly, but it has deeper connotations, let's say, context. It's about the authorship. We were mostly, let's say, speaking about playing the music, but also about writing music or choosing the repertoire. So my question would be, like, in broader sense, what is your approach to this? And then in particular, it's like, what is the oldest song you like and play or like to play?
Okay.
I like to romanticize the idea like the music is abstract, so you could hear the same melody 1,000 years ago or maybe 2,000 years and it lasted somehow, so there's something special about it, and in this way,
You mean like
thinking.
So you mean like, for example, like a very old, like in terms of ancient melody in a way, or something, or like, yeah, like from the roots or something, you know? There's, I mean, in the Jewish roots, there's so many beautiful melodies, you know, and I deal with them sometimes. There's a band that I play in and produce musically that's called Sister Nagila. It's actually a peace project between Israeli and Iranian musicians, and we deal with we arrange a lot of melodies from the past, you know, and I mean, yes, there are many, you know, and there's something very. You have something called piyut, you know, which is also like a way of a prayer. And you have also these melodies. What's so cool about those is that they don't need harmony behind them to get the message out. The melody is so da 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 da. You know, like stuff like that is very. It tells you the story just by itself, you know. and yeah, just heard how horrible singer I am. Yeah, but it's so yeah, I definitely like that. It's a very interesting question because like maybe in all of us there's a side that is connected to this primal thing, and I actually try to pay more attention to that. I'm trying. I'm not saying that I'm succeeding, but I'm trying with time maybe to be. I think it has to do also with inner calmness and it also connects to what you said like about like understanding repertoire, how to curate a concert, how to put like something together that will tell a story that we said before, you know. You need to be very connected to yourself, and you need to be like very accepting of like the forces that are above you, and those melodies are a bit of a force that are above you, you know. So if you just accept them, you let them in, and you're just like, you know, then you let them out, you play them, even if it comes out as a silly melody, you know, but you let it out, so you just let it be. And I really try to, in recent times, to like bring myself to accept this side, you know, like these forces, and try to be as focused as I can in like what is the message here, to see as clearly as I can. I hope that answers some of it. Okay.
Sweet. So maybe one last question, or maybe we will wrap it up. No one? So, all right. So I think that it was really lovely. We really enjoyed the conversation. This was really sweet. Thanks for questions. And I think that, you know, we will hear you playing in those 3 projects. So you're looking forward. It's going to be great.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you. It was great.
Looking forward. Thank you.
Sweet.